panel of today. We have with us, joining us, Tatyana Ali, director Alpha Nicky, and executive producer Dr. Nicola Mitchell herself. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Right. Let's get started. Up first, we have So Unique magazine.
Hi guys, how are you?
Wonderful.
Thank you for allowing me to speak with you guys today. So it's always a wonderful thing to play the role of someone who devotes their time to helping others. What was one of the highlights of working on this film for you guys?
I'll jump in and start. The highlight for me was these two women that are, well, on my screen, they're on either side of me, Nicola and Alpha, and then also the girls that I got to work with. I loved the story. The script had me in tears, very emotional. Not just at the points in the story where that's supposed to happen, but the heart of the story. And I was so excited to meet Dr. Nicola. And I became a fan of her after learning about her story, and just the community of women on set. That was the thing that I've taken with me after working on this, really coming together, these incredibly brilliant, talented, good Black women that I got to, craft this story with, at least in my part as an actor. That was that's the part that it will never leave me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you said it all, actually, Tatyana. It was a very moving script. And the moment that I read it, I wanted to be a part of it. And I just called my agent and I say, make it happen. And I got to meet these two beautiful ladies that inspired me a lot and guided me and it's an honor to tell that story, to be completely honest, to be with this team that was dedicated, that wanted to do and give the best. Really, everybody on set was so into the story and wanted to work and wanted to put the to really leave an imprint to the story. Yeah.
Thank you.
And because it's my story, it's still crazy to me that to be alive, to be young, to see my story be hashed, and the care that Alpha and Tatyana had for me from the beginning. It was just amazing. You made me feel so comfortable. I trusted everything that you guys done. At first, I didn't know what to expect, but just the love the whole crew gave, it was an honor just to be able to say I was there to witness you guys produce this content.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Chris Gunther.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you guys so much for taking the time out with us. First things first, I had the biggest crush on Tatyana Ali because I've seen every episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So this is a dream come true. I'm going to just go ahead and put that out there and let me hurry and try to get back into professional mode. But first of all, thank you for taking this time out. My question is for Tatyana. What source of inspiration did you have to pull from to portray this character?
She's sitting right there, Nicola Mitchell. I had the opportunity to speak with her beforehand. Barbara Fisher, one of the producers of the film, I'd worked with her before, and her husband actually, and they're incredible people. And when I got the offer for this and I got the script, my question to her was, can we meet? And she's so inspiring. And for me, even very personally, turning trauma into power is one of the themes of this film that I think is so important. Learning to love yourself by loving others is a real theme in this film. And Nicola has, if you don't mind me, I'm going to just talk about you while you're here. She has this incredible spirit, this way about her, this gentle, loving, and yet so, I mean, force of nature, beingness about her that I think is so powerful. And it's something that I've never gotten the chance to try to portray, but it's something that I have experienced in other powerful women that I really admire. And, I wanted to do that right. And so she was my inspiration. I wanted to tell her story the right way. I've also been involved in mentorship throughout my life. I've been mentored and I've also been a mentor. And it's so essential to, the health of our community. And I wanted to honor that, to be able to give somebody their flowers, like while they're here, and not just here, but still doing in the midst of the work that they're doing, is a real blessing.
I agree. Thank you so much for your time. I want to give you your flowers because you're definitely a legend for the culture. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you, Chris. Up next, we have Partice Smith of New Light Media.
Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. It's such an inspiring press conference on International Women's Day. Of course, I would just like to know that, the title of Giving Hope and the testimony behind this story. What is the best thing you can say where to get encouraged, to have the strength to, everybody's not going to be able to get their story told, but what's the best way for their stories to be told or to share their stories? And what would you recommend, or what would you suggest on that?
Okay, so for myself, that it's my true life. The girls are my motivation. Every time I do an event, it feels like therapy. Being a survivor of sexual and physical abuse, it's better than any therapy session that I've ever had. Being able to see in real time how my story and other women that I bring in front of them, how that affects them. And even now, like years later, I have some that have grown or married, have babies, that
Wow.
can tell that them coming and what I've done has been impactful for them. That's my motivation every time to do it. So when they said that was the title, it was like, oh, wow, that's exactly what it is. I try to give hope to these girls every time.
Great. And what would you say, Ms. Tatyana Ali, would you leave giving hope? What is your message of hope, being that what you've gone through in your life? What would you share today?
I would share, telling your story and sharing your story, and, your story of inspiration, your testimony, if there's trauma in your past, is a very personal thing. It's sometimes it reopens things, but oh my goodness, who you become on the other side of it is, it's more than you could ever imagine when you begin that journey. And as someone who's shared things about myself, you realize that you're not alone. And you realize that there really is nothing new under the sun, and people you would never expect that have similarities to what you've been through. You find that out. And it's, I think in our culture, it's something that we're getting back to, this sharing, especially, and it's for men and women. It's something that we need. And the first step sometimes is telling the truth about what you've experienced yourself. And Nicola, you're this prolific writer and author.
Yes.
And Alpha is a prolific writer, an incredibly brilliant director, storyteller. Tell your stories. This is our time to tell our stories. They deserve to be told, and they have impact far beyond your own lifetime.
Yes. And Miss Nicky, I want to leave you with the last words that you would like to share of why everybody needs to watch Giving Hope and watch the story.
It's me.
Yes.
Oh, I do have the last word. Yeah, watch this story because it's a story that deserves to be told, and it's a beautiful story. It is it gives me hope. It gives a lot of people hope, and it's something that we need. It's something that we need in our communities. It's something that we need around us. We need to see stories like that on TV.
Great. Have a great rest of the day and keep inspiring everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Calvin of Trill Talk TV. Calvin?
Hi, this is a question for Nicola. What's it like seeing Tatyana play you? Like, how did it feel seeing yourself like that?
So I did not realize how soft-spoken I am. I did not realize how slow I speak and how slowly I blink. So Tatyana covered everything about me. It was so amazing, like watching that in real time. And yeah, we have a lot of mannerism alike. And so just to see her naturally do it, I'm like, oh wow, she's so beautiful. And she just really embodied me. I think my favorite moment was when she was writing like the story in the book at work, portraying that. I start crying because I'm like, oh my God, because it was the same way that I felt the hope that I thought I was going to have, like I'm going to become something. I knew I was going to be destined for something. I just didn't know what it was. And she embodied all of that. So just watching her was amazing. You know, I was always a fangirl of her too, growing up alongside her. And I was like, I'm going to be just like her. So for her to be the one that was picked to play me was so amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have William Carter. William Carter?
Good morning or afternoon. How are y'all doing?
Greetings. How are you?
Doing well. So I want to know for Miss Nicola, because this is your story, you know, and you saw Tatyana play you. Was there ever a moment in telling your story when you felt like this may be a little bit too personal to share, or you may have had like a little mental block that you didn't want to put out there fully, but you decided, you know, it was better for the people to hear and see you? And if so, how did you overcome maybe that block?
So yes, I I speak about my story very openly during my events every time, but speaking it and telling it to the world for people to judge you, you know, I've done interviews and things and said that I'm a domestic violence survivor, and it was flipped on to me that I wanted it, you know, so it's also like that thought of being bullied per se of what you've been through. And now I'm going to put that out for the world on display. But I felt like it was needed to be seen and done and told so girls can really see that no matter what their circumstances, they can overcome it, because I've been everything that you can think of. I've had cancer. I have 2 kids that passed away. I was a teen mom. I was raped at 14. And I'm still here. I'm Dr. Nicola. You know, who would have thought that that would have been me? So yes, it was very scary. And I, you know, confessed to Alpha today, I have imposter syndrome still, because, you know, we're getting near to the movie coming out and I'm nervous, but, you know, it's bigger than me, you know, and that's what I have to stay focused on. Like, if there's somebody else that's going to be able to see this and get hope and enlightenment from it, that's the bigger picture of it.
Well, that's a beautiful answer. And I'm sorry that you know what happened to you. And I, even as you talk, I could still see, you know, it's impacting you. But for you to even be able to share your story and want to share your story, that is a greater purpose. And I thank you for allowing us to be able to come into your life like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Big E.
Good afternoon, ladies. How y'all doing?
Peace, King.
My name is Big E. I'm from the Listen If You Will Faith and Sports radio show on praise.fm. And I want to get my stuff out the way too. Tatyana Ali, I grew up watching you. I know I'm older than you, but I watch you in everything that you did. And I want to commend you for being the person that you are. And to Miss Nicola, bless you. I'm glad that your story is being told. A lot of people have instances that they go through and afraid to tell their story. So bless you for telling your story, and bless you as well, Miss Alpha Nikki. My question is to Miss Tatyana Ali. We've watched you mature from a childhood actress into an adult actress. How has the maturation prepared you into playing this emotional but inspirational role?
One of the things I love about acting, why I'm, going to be an actor for life, like they're going to have to take a hook and or how about no, they're going to have to wheel me onto the stage, is that it is always evolving and always changing. The roles are always different. And the way the universe would have it, or different roles, I believe what's for you is for you, and different roles come at different points in my life. I don't think I would have been able to play Nicola Mitchell at a different point. It happened now for a reason. I felt that there were things that I could really bring to it, places where I understood. There are things that I understood, and it's just for me the magic of acting and of theater, and clicking in when you can. And I felt this felt so clicked in, so locked in. Also working with Alpha, Nicky, and Alpha, I've said this to you, I believe I've said this to you, just between you and I, but working with this incredibly gifted young Black woman, you don't get many opportunities for me to partner with a director. There were things that didn't need to be spoken that we understood between each other. It's hard to describe. If sensitivities, language, motivations, that it was just the experience of a lifetime to be able to work with this Black woman director, as a Black woman myself, telling this Black woman story. I don't know how to really, it's very special. It's a very intimate, emotional story. And oh my goodness, I can't imagine it having happened in any other way. And yeah, we need to be empowered to be able to tell our own stories, because it makes all the difference. It helps you click in, and hopefully, share just the intimacy of our relationships, our pain and our joy, and how we are able to evolve and navigate all the things that happen to us in our lives. That's a long answer, but that's.
No, you're perfect. Perfect. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much, and bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving down the list, up next we have Jamie Ruby. Jamie.
Hello. So for Tatyana, is it more difficult playing a real person, especially meeting her? And because she is so inspirational, is there anything that you were kind of worried wouldn't, come across authentic or anything like that?
Yeah, it's definitely more difficult playing a real person. There's a different sense of responsibility, in accuracy, in honoring the truth of the story, when taking it from the page onto actually shooting. And there were times during the shooting where I'd be in hair and makeup, and we'd be going over the scenes and rehearsing, and Nicola, I would text you and be like, could you talk to me real quick? It's what happened here. This is where we're at in this story, in this script. And how did that feel? I think it feels like this. Am I right? I think it sounds like this. Does that feel right to you? And it's a completely different, it's a different ballgame because I'm not fabricating, imagining, there's a bit of that because I have to, it's theater, but it's a totally different responsibility level. And I was so excited to try.
Great. Well, thank you. And thank you, Nicola, for telling your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Valerie Milano. Valerie?
Nicola, hi. I know you've talked a lot about the movie and I appreciate, you telling your story. Can you come forward, why was it important? Can you tell us like one fact, why it was important, and a fact, about the movie that it was based on, just keep it brief, like.
Child abuse.
Got you. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And standing up for yourself.
All right. And I want to ask Tatyana, can you tell me one challenge of you taking this role?
The big challenge for me was meeting some of those places, meeting some of those places in me. You always bring some of your own experience to things, and meeting that was, I guess, tough terrain.
Okay. Alpha, do you have anything to add?
Just to add to what Tatyana said, I could feel it, and I'm very proud of her for bringing that in just the right portion to make this movie, to make this movie come alive. She was into it, but she knew when she needed to withdraw, and to bring the right balance. It's something that is very difficult for artists to do sometimes.
Thank you, ladies, for your brevity and just your passion and yeah, okay.
Thank you, Valerie. Just time checking that we have a few more minutes for this panel. Up next, we have Suzanne.
Hi, whose idea was it to create this movie, to take Nicola's story, excuse me, and have someone write it, give it to Lifetime? Who came up with it? Whose brainchild was it?
Barbara Fisher. She's a producer from Lifetime. She found me from a Reader's Digest article.
Wow.
And tracked me down.
Cool.
Yeah. That's real life what happened. And it's been the best experience ever since. She's the one who convinced me, because I was like, wait, what? You want me to do what? And she said, your story needs to be told. And after a lot of wine with Adam, the writer, we got the story out. And then time with Alpha, we had one-on-one before. She put a lot of thought into my home and everything to make it feel authentic. And then Tatyana just wrapped it up. So Barbara was the brainchild, but it took a collective group of people to bring the story to action.
All right, thank you so much. Well, it was really inspiring story to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Up next, Terry Shropshire. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to having my name mangled. Yeah, good afternoon. I wanted to ask, particularly Dr. Mitchell and Miss Nicky, the power, the therapeutic power, or how cathartic it is to chronicle your trauma for people who have been through some things. There's people who are going to watch this, maybe even some of the reporters who have been through something similar or had other traumas in their lives, and the power of chronicling your pain as a way to, as therapy, as a way to get through it, and eventually heal from it and get beyond it. I want to know if you could, both of you can speak to that, and as well as Tatyana.
So I do think it's very important to speak about it, to talk about it. I did appreciate how Def Alpha went, just subtle things to showcase the trauma, but not exploit it, right? And so that's what made me feel comfortable to even go further and deeper with just seeing the process. When I came on set, everybody, I think I made everyone nervous. They didn't know what to expect. And when they realized that I'm really the person that they're playing, everybody came and cried at some point and talked about something that happened to them and how they were honored to tell the story. Everybody from grip to PAs to lighting, everybody came to me, hugged me, cried with me. But Alpha took so much detail, like from the angles that she shot to setting up the scene, it just to make sure she caught the moment, the feel of that scene. That's what made me feel so comfortable with. I haven't seen the final product, but I'm confident that it's wonderful because just what I've seen produced from Alpha and Tatyana.
Thank you, Alpha. If you could speak to that, please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have a story actually on set. We're shooting this scene about cancer, and I'm a very visual director, and I see the scene before. I don't know how to say that. I see it in my head, and the funny thing is, English is not even my first language, but I feel like cinema is a universal language. You kind of feel the things. So I put great care into what you see or what the words, and we're shooting the scene about cancer, and Tatyana is doing her thing and amazing. And I look around during the rehearsals, and what I see is members of the crew actually started crying, just breaking, and it got to a place that we had to stop the rehearsal a little bit earlier than we were supposed to, because I didn't want Tatyana to be too into it before we start rolling, but also just take a moment for the crew to regroup, and because it's not that we're doing a Christmas movie or a comedy or something like that. Everybody feels, I mean, at some point you get to, it speaks to you, as a human being, it just speaks to you. And so that was, to me, was a challenge, but actually it's not really a challenge. It was beautiful to witness as a human and as a filmmaker, because when you're doing something that matters, it's just so different. It's so different. It just brings so much joy to your heart, but also you don't even think about, because I'm so obsessed about, oh, move the camera, this, that. And you don't even think about that because it matters. What we're doing matters. So you can just put a camera wherever. It's gonna work. It's gonna work because it's the truth.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on the success of the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have time for the last question of today's panel. Gerard Horton, please unmute your mic.
Hey everyone, how are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to say, just hearing you guys' answers and hearing the story, I just applaud you guys for the strength and to put the project out. I want to ask Tatyana about, because you was talking about at certain points in your career that you wasn't able to pull this role off. When did you know within your career that this was a time for you to maybe tackle this role? Did it click? Was it something else that you did that allowed you to do that? And also, Nicola, when did you know that it was time for your story to get out, that people needed to hear everything that you do? I mean, timing is such, a unique thing, and sometimes bad timing, it makes people feel a certain type of way. You might then have the strength in order to look at yourself on film. When did you guys know that it was time to put this story out?
I'll start. I think I've always been very serious about acting, you know, whether it's drama or it's comedy or some mixture of the two. And I'm always working on my toolbox, you know, I'm always working on my paints, my colors, my access to things, to what I need to tell a story. And so I don't know if there's an exact moment. I know that I've been acting for a very long time, since I was 4 years old.
Wow.
And there have been times, there was certainly a time in my life, and I think it had to do with a lot of pressures from the business and, you know, just being a young woman in this industry and getting treated certain ways. When you're a little artist and you're protecting this stuff, where I felt like I describe it to my friends as like, I lost the cipher, you know? And, but I didn't stop, and I kept struggling through it, and I kept working and taking jobs that, you know, as blessings, and my, you know, ability to just try new things. And I don't know when it was, if it was like in my, at some space in my 30s, I felt like, and even now I feel like, oh, the cipher's back. And I just think that's just like, I think that's just like what happens to us as creative people, or, you know, as artists, you know, it's a dance and a flow, and sometimes it flows. And you know, I saw the opportunity to do this film is just a real blessing. And I just prayed a lot through it.
Definitely. Okay. Do you other ladies want to add on to that also too, about what she said and knowing it was the right time to put the story out?
For myself, I tell my story, like I said, on a regular basis. So 8 years ago, when I started Girls Who Brunch Tour, is when I started being vulnerable, telling about the abuse that I endured as a child. I used to speak to women and do a lot of women empowerment events about, you know, adult things, but not the younger things. So I'm happy I've done that because it prepared me to get to this moment. But nothing is ever by happen chance. It's ordained, you know, everything is on time. So when Barbara approached me and said that this is what we should do, and everything fell in place, every ask that I asked was easily done. I was told that it was going to be hard. They're going to make everything from a Black female director to everything was just so simply done. It was just like, okay, it was meant to be told. So I think that in this time where we're surviving all this social anguish from being at home from COVID, all this anxiety on high, these kids are going through things, women are going through things, all this social unjust. I think being able to see a story and humanize somebody, you know, they always judge you by what the bad you've done, but if they get to see how you got here, then people will respect it more. So I think it's just that moment. It's just a moment in time right now to display it.
I mean, it's definitely a blessing. God's timing is always on time, and you know, we appreciate you guys. And like I said, I didn't know the story, but just listening to it and, you know, getting the wind of it, you know, it got me feeling a certain type of way, and I just appreciate it. And I applaud you guys, Trent, for putting it out. I knew it had to be a lot to put it out there. So thank you guys. Congratulations on getting it done and putting the story out there. And you guys did a great job with it. And blessings to you.
Can I add something? I don't know. Is this our last question? I know we're running out of time. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I just add? Can I add one thing?
Please.
One of the most awesome, the awesomest, one of the best scenes and experiences in the film were when we were actually doing the Girls Who Brunch events, because the girls that were there, the dialogue, the monologues, giving the speeches, the energy of the space, where these girls who are actors knew that we were there to celebrate them. It became a real Girls Who Brunch event. And the true meaning of the film, loving on them, came to life in real life. And I know that was, that is, those scenes are like it for me, for me. I just want to add that. I just wanted to add that.
Do your thing. We appreciate it. And kudos to you. Like everyone said, we have saw you grow up, and you said that people didn't have to put you in a box. You go into your bag, you're an artist, and it shows. And we're proud of you to see you contribute to the culture and see you grow up and your maturation. So kudos to you. We applaud you. And thanks for giving back. We love you.
Love you too. Thank you.
Well, that is officially a wrap on our Rip from the Headlines press day. Thank you all for joining. Giving Hope, the Nicola Mitchell story premieres Easter Sunday, April 9th at 8 on Lifetime.